Welcome to the Empowered Money Girl, where we break down the barriers to financial confidence, celebrate women's wins, and reveal the secrets to living boldly and well. I'm your host, Josette Mandela. So I have a question for you. What happens when your workplaces stop being weighed down by bureaucracy and instead become vibrant, energized, and profitable? Rosemary Bova here to show us how it's done. She's an executive leadership consultant, business strategist, and keynote speaker, known for transforming organizations through leadership development and change management. With years of experience guiding leaders and companies, she's helped organizations build strong managerial skills, create structures with integrity, and engage employees at every level, leading to striving cultures where everyone wins. And if you're ready to see what's possible when leadership and energy align, you'll love this episode. Please welcome the visionary, energizing, and results-driven Rosemary Bova.
Well, thank you, Josette. I appreciate being on this podcast this morning and hope that I can add value to your audience.
Well, thank you so much for coming. And so can you take us back to the beginning? What was your path like that got you to where you are today?
My path. Well, it depends on how far back you want to go. But what I will say is from a work experience, I started off as a behavioralist and thought that it was the individual or the member of the team that affected how successful the company was. Had been introduced to this mysterious element of work called organization development, OD. Now it means other things. You know, people say, you OD? You specialize in OD? And I say, no, it's not that OD, it's this OD. But so it's organization development. And when I first learned about that, what I remember is that it enabled the company to review its past experiences and learn from that and take the learnings from that and add it to the new experience. So the organization was constantly revisiting itself and learning from its own mistakes or successes. That fascinated me. I was just absolutely fascinated by that. And so I embarked on this, and I started out as doing training. I was working for the city, and the city sent me to school, and for my master's, and I owed the city time, so I paid back the city time, and then I got a job through my field work supervisor. He knew a woman who was working in the city, the Human Resources Administration, and I was introduced to her. And I'll never forget this because she said to me, I don't have a lot of time tonight because I have to go and see a friend who's performing in a play upstate New York. Do you want to come with me? And instantaneously, I said, yes, of course. So we had like 2 hours drive going and then 2 hours drive coming. It was a lot of time, and we really got to know each other. And I often wonder what happened to her. But she knew of this other job that was in a small not-for-profit. So now we're going back. So where the time was where when you worked in not-for-profit, you were not considered corporate material. because they kind of, I, I don't know what to say about it, but they just didn't respect not-for-profit work as much as they respected corporate work. But anyway, I stayed there. I became the executive director of that agency. And, a number of things happened that, and I had heard a speaker at one of the Organization Development Network meetings. He's deceased now. He was at Harvard. His name was Jai. And he spoke about organizations having a beginning, a middle, and an ending. And he felt that that certain organizations needed to just die. That made so much sense to me. If your purpose is completed or fulfilled, why would you keep on going? It did not make sense to me. So basically, I closed down the organization. The organization was called at that time Connect, the Committee on Neighborhood Communication and Training. And I closed it down. There was one, we were in the black. I mean, we were not in the red, or we're not going bankrupt or anything. And and I kept the last project. So we ended it in January, and we had 6 months more for this one project that I completed. And I, managed to help my staff get particular roles and whatnot. I'm still in touch with one of them. One has died, and the former executive director is doing something else. And, it was just, it was a lovely completion of a piece of work, more than a piece of work, a complex piece of work that was serving school systems in the New York metropolitan area. And so then I was left adrift. So I had this one assignment, but it wasn't a lot of, I wasn't getting a lot of money. And I met with a woman who was at what was then known as the Equitable.
Okay.
And I took her to lunch because she had helped a friend of mine get a position. And, they created a new position for an occupational therapist with the Equitable. So anyway, I took her to lunch, and she offered me 2 jobs.
Cool.
And I said to her, well, listen, let me think about it over the weekend. And she said, I think you'd be better off for the special, I forget what it was called, special consultants, which focused on women and minorities coming into the organization. And the other one was management development. So I got hired, and I started that work in corporate. But it was really a challenge for me. It wasn't, how could I say this? I mean, my expertise, I had general management expertise. I was working with a board of directors already. Do you know what I mean? I was strategizing the policy for this smaller organization. So I came in with a lot of expertise, not cultivated, but an understanding of a lot of different things and how they fit together. So within about 1.5 years of being assigned to this woman, there was a restructuring, and I became her equal.
Wow.
So they split group and pensions. I went to pension, she was in group. And And I asked her for help, and she said, "No, I'm sorry, you have to do it yourself now."
Oh, no.
It was, I mean, it was like a slap in the face. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you know what I mean? It was just, but it was a good thing because I had to do it myself. You know what I mean? And I built a small consultant firm in pensions, in the pension business.
Oh, cool.
And we were very small. I think we were three or four, maybe five. I don't even know. Um, and because I came in from the outside, I did not have all the norms that everybody that grew up in the company had.
Right.
So I would just do things the way I felt they should do. So, for example, an executive vice president would call me, his executive assistant would call me, and she's, "Rosemary, can you make an appointment on this day?" I said, "I have another appointment that day. Is there any other time?" "Oh, of course. Pick a time." So I picked a time. This way I didn't have to reschedule everything that I had beneath me. Nobody else in the company did that because they were so concerned about the quote higher ups. So
And that's such a story in the corporate world.
isn't it?
Yeah.
I think every woman and some men also have that story to tell. And if I were to say yes to her suggestion of a time and place, I would have had to call anywhere from 1 to 7 people to have to cancel and reschedule. And I mean, I also went in, I remember this very vividly. I went into, there was a vice president of in pensions. I think he was in sales. And he would assign people to go to my programs and then pull them out at the last minute. So I went to him and I said, "Excuse me, but can I have a conversation with you?" He said, of course, Rosemary." And I said, "Well, I need to close the door." He looked at me. So I closed the door and I said, "Listen, I'm a professional. I, I've studied, I work. When you pull someone out of my session, that sends a very different message that this is not worth anything. And I'm telling you, it is worth something." And, I mean, he was flabbergasted at how forthcoming I was. If you don't tell people,
Right.
how are they supposed to know?
Yes.
It just doesn't operate. You know what I mean? Anyway, he self-corrected. I mean, people never, when they were assigned, they attended. And then he had his wife come to me for coaching because his wife was also in social work school. He's not with us anymore. I mean, I think he died about a year ago, but it was like, okay, you have to speak up. But so many women are, I don't want to say afraid to speak up, but they are hesitant to speak to power. And speaking to power is one of the skills that we really need to learn. How do you speak to someone who's higher up in the organization than you are?
True.
Do you know what I mean? And there are ways to do that. Um, so from there, I mean, that job, my job was eliminated. Uh, it's a whole other story I won't go into right now. Um, And then I said to myself, they gave me I had an outplacement package. One of my clients in the system in pensions hired me outright, and he kept me afloat for a number of years. And then I will say to you, so I kept doing this behavioral work that was about the individuals and the team. And I wasn't really thinking about mindset yet. It was kind of underground work, mindset work. But I kept going. I kept going, doing, what I did, which was consulting. And the interesting thing, when I started my own business, I called myself an executive coach. And people said, "What is an executive coach?" And I should have patented it or trademarked that
Oh,
term
yeah.
because it's a long time ago. And I said, "Well, just as tennis pros or golf pros need someone to watch them and show them what they're doing, how they're doing it wrong, or how their mindset is interfering with, that's what I do." So anyway, I proceeded along, and I'm going to say we're talking, maybe in the 90s now, that I had joined a firm. So I've always been a person that does things that are a little odd. So, for example, when I was in graduate school, I sold half my car. So you're looking at me, right?
Half your
Kind of
car.
questioning,
Yeah,
like,
that
what did you do? So I said, so there was a guy who needed a car to go to his placement 4 days a week. I needed the car on the weekends. I sold him half of my common gear. He would use it during the week, drop it off to me on a Friday morning or evening. I drop it off to him on a Monday morning.
wow. That's
It, it,
amazing.
you know what I mean? It's like you thinking, I've always been one to think like outside of the box. It made sense to me. I mean, why wouldn't you do that? And I don't know. It's a funny world we're living in now. Well, now we're living in a world that is polarized. I mean, you can't even talk to people about things. Although I purposely bring up subject matters. We lived in Manhattan for, over 30 years. And we moved to Brooklyn. And I live in the house I grew up in. So I moved back here with my partner, Dan. Um, and he's an artist. And we moved back to be with my mother. My aunt, the house was a two-family house, and my aunt had died. She died the day after her 105th birthday.
Wow.
And my mother was in her 90s at that time. And so we renovated. So I put the business on hold because I really can't do. There are certain things that have to take your full attention. And so right now, my business is taking my full attention. But then, it was, selling the other apartment, dealing with all of the paperwork and all. And I don't know if you know this about artists, but artists really cannot handle that kind of stuff. So it all fell on me. And I was making a lot more money than he was. I mean, he was barely making money. So it was, so it, I just went about my business the way I did it. And so I put the business on hold, and we had another interruption um, a year ago, June. so not this past June, but a year ago, where we were having our roof put on and a new roof. And the contractor did not put the top on properly. And we had water damage
Oh,
going down from the what I work in what it was called the attic. It's a duplex, but it's the attic all the way down to the basement. There was water everywhere.
oh no.
And it's been healed. I mean, so it was kind of funny because it was like the water washed everything that was a residue, every energetic residue washed it away. I mean, this might sound a little woo-woo to your people that are listening, but I'm a believer that we are all made of energy, and energy is in different forms. So this house had certain energies in it. And this rain and wind blew everything and washed everything away. It took us a year. We were out of the house for like 4 or 5 months. We were living in a hotel nearby. I mean, it was a crazy kind of thing. And I didn't get back on my feet really until maybe last February or March.
Oh wow.
And then I decided really, I have something to offer. I want to, so what I believe, and this is my passion in life, is that no one should be working at a job that they don't feel fulfilled in.
Oh,
Now,
absolutely.
isn't that the truth? There are so many people in Manhattan that looked either sad or angry, and there are so many retail shops that are closed, that are up for rent, and then even big buildings that are renting. Um, I truthfully, I was shocked by this. I was really shocked because where I live now is a very integrated community. Um, we have a little bit of everything. Do you know what I mean? I mean, we have well, I'm Italian American. We have my husband, my life partner is a Black man. We have people who have lived on this block for generations. We have a lot of new people. We have Hispanic people. We have Chinese people. We have Asian people. We have Palestinians. I mean, it is just lovely to see the melting pot. And it's when as I say the melting pot, because that's an old term, it's we're really not melting together. Although when I sit out on the front porch, we live in a frame house. No, stop again. And it's when I sit out on the front porch and my partner Dan is out there. I mean, he sits out on the front porch every evening. I don't sit out every evening, but we see people walking by, and he has art. He has his art on the front lawn. We have two front lawns, and he has his art there. And um, by way of he's opening. We when we renovated this house. Um, we we made the downstairs rental apartment, which was where my mother lived, a 1 bedroom, solid 1 bedroom, and we took the front room and made it into a gallery. so that he could use it for his art. And the gallery is called the Cubiculo. And the cubiculo is a term for a small room that was from Twelfth Night, Shakespeare's Twelfth Night.
Ah,
Dan was an actor before he turned to making assemblages from found objects. And anyway, um, just I'll give you a little blurb on this might go out before, but on August 30th, between 3 and 9, we're having an open house for people to come and see not only his work, but the work of his partner, David Dixon. So anyway, I veer off there. The work that I've done. So the year was a year of what is happening to me? Where are we going? Now, I probably have more courage than the average person. I take a leap. And I did hear about this person, Christian Michelson, and I signed up for, one of his programs, and then I signed up for this other program about time. And the day I signed up for it, I mean, I didn't, the day that the program was my birthday. And I gave that to me as a gift.
cool.
And at the end of the day, he asked, how people felt. And I, wrote in that, today is my birthday. I've given myself this as a gift. And thank you so much. And he started singing the happy birthday song to me. And there was just a heart connection between he and I. He sang the whole song. Some people say happy birthday to you. That's it. He sang the whole song. And I was so deeply touched by this. I said to myself, I have to work with this person. So from there, then I bought this very expensive, very, very expensive program. And I'm so excited about the program because, I too do podcasts. And this week we'll have 2 days with the people that are in this program with him. It's a much smaller group. It's not hundreds of people. It's like probably less than 30 that are in this group. And I'm so excited about getting myself on track and being able to offer what I know to people. And I think that's a lot like where you're at. You have financial knowledge and you want to offer it to people. But you need certain people that are interested in your offerings. So what I have created now is an umbrella called Legendary Managerial Leadership.
Cool.
And yeah, and it's a total system. And I work independently, so if I have a big project, I pull people in. But I'm a solopreneur. But I also I can do all of these things because I've had a legendary career that has, kind of
Yeah, absolutely.
meandered, and it's gone everywhere, every which way.
And I
And
think that's what's so fun when you have a career like that, where you get a little from here and a little from there, and when you get to the end, it's like, oh wow, look at all the cool things that I've done in my life. So,
Well, and that's really the interesting thing. It's like I've done a lot of cool things. I've traveled the world. Um, and one of the things that I talk about is that I my mindset, talking about me personally now, my mindset is not one that is about creating wealth. So I always would say that I just create enough that I can live on. So I am in the process of now in this program creating wealth because I do want to be, um, I want to be a philanthropist. I want to be able to support, organizations that I feel are doing a good job with more than just $100, maybe $1,000 or maybe $10,000. Do you know what I mean? It's elevating, and it's funny because yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before, somebody said to me, uh, I think actually I was watching TV, and there was something about, well, you need to enjoy life to, and so what? If you have wealth, I think this is the way it went. I'm not 100% sure, but I think this is the way it went. If you have wealth, you owe it to others to enjoy your life so that they see where they can be if they do their work.
oh, I
And I
love
said to
that.
myself, well, that is a reframe.
Mm-hmm.
I would have never thought of that. Um, so it's just very interesting. So I'm kind of learning. I'm just energized at this stage, and I have a lot of people that are my age and are, I hate to say it, infirm, in wheelchairs. uh you know um it's when the last time I went to this doctor, woman said to me, "How old are you?" I told her how old I was. She said, "God, you are so alive. You're so full of vitality. I want to be like you when I'm that age." Eh, and my mother died 5 years ago or 6 years ago. And so I had to deal with her death. I mean, I have a brother, but dealt with her death. And that took a while also because um, I used to write newsletters. And I guess it was 1997, I think it was. Well, maybe no, it wasn't no, she turned 97. My mother turned 97. So it was just recently. It must have been about, I don't know, the last 10 years. And I wrote a newsletter at Mom at 97.
Very nice.
And what I appreciate, I was able to appreciate about her that I was not able to appreciate about her earlier on was that my mother lost her mother at age 6. And so my mother was the motherless child and had me, and she had no role models
Oh, wow.
of parenting.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, we were living with my father's family, and so she saw a very loving family. But she didn't. I don't think she had that. And I remember, I was there used to be a training called the Loving Relationships training, and there was a breath technique that you used, and you could go really back into the womb with this breath technique. And I asked her, I said, Mom, I think maybe you wanted a son, and I was a daughter in your womb. And she looked at me. I remember we were over the sink. We were both by the sink. And she said to me, well, yes. She said, because if I would have had a son, if the firstborn would have been a son, I would have been elevated.
Yeah, Italian family. I
Italian
know that
family.
story because I had the same problem with my mother.
Yeah. I mean, and it's interesting because people have been giving me books now to read about Southern Italy. I've never been to Southern Italy. I've been to Rome and Florence and places. But I really want to go to Southern Italy because now I mean, I even understand that there is a town by the name of Bova that I had never understood that has its own language. It's a Greco Italian
Oh,
town
interesting.
that has its own language. Who the hell? I mean, so anyway, but all of these things are coming to pass. And I am excited about what the future holds for me. The institutions now are collapsing. You have technological advancements are in the forefront. You talk about money, and I do have investments, and they're not that much, but they're much more than what the average person has. And I have some really solid stocks, but I also have some very kind of iffy, like stocks that if they hit will make me a millionaire, or something. So, but I control that piece because my advisor doesn't want to deal with that,
Of
and he
course.
and he wants to deal with what he wants to deal with, and I'm okay with that. And so we are both and I think that that's a very, I mean, if I see the clock and I'm saying, well, we should wind this up now, but if both and is what I think people really want now, because you cannot, it's kind of like you buy a shoe. Not everybody is a perfect size 9 or 7 or 8, whatever.
True. Hmm.
So the left foot is always larger than the right foot. And it's really kind of interesting. But you can have it both ways. You can have both end. And I think people have to decide for themselves what they are going to do and how they are going to step out into this new world that's coming, because it's coming, and it'll be very, very different than the world that we've had, which is what I characterize it as greedy. But I think that there will be this uplift of financial freedom that will lift up the entire United States. I don't know about the world. Can't really say too much about that, but um, anyway, this has been an absolute pleasure for me to just kind of freewheel and talk to you, Josette.
It's been a lot of fun, Rosemary, and I want to thank you all for joining us today, and a huge thank you to Rosemary Bova for sharing her wisdom and energy with us. If you found value in this conversation, please subscribe, leave a review, and share the Empowered Money Girl with your friends. The more we spread these stories, the more women we can empower to live boldly, both financially and every part of life. Until next time, keep thriving. And remember, your journey to empowerment starts with you.